Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate day number 565, 565, October the 1st, 2018, Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Okay, on Sunday morning we had Lindsey Graham going on to Maria Bartiromo. And of course he said that he wants an investigation on the Blasey Ford allegations and how it was handled. And what he's talking about here is he's talking about when he's saying the way it was handled, he means by the Democrats, particularly those on the Senate Judiciary Committee, and specifically Feinstein and her people. He's talking about the lawyers, Mr. Bromwich, Ms. Katz, and the other Democratic National Committee lawyer. He's talking about the whole process, including some of the witnesses, some of the false stories that came out that were never followed up on. They were just thrown against the wall like mud. He wants to look into all of it. And that's certainly something they can do. The Republicans are head of the committee. I don't think he's talking about an FBI investigation. I think he's talking about a investigation within the Congress, and I assume he means in the Senate Judiciary Committee itself, and he probably means even other committees within the Congress that look into these types of things. Could be the Oversight Committee. I imagine even the House Judiciary Committee could look into this. Because there were a lot of shenanigans that took place here and a lot of problems. Lindsey Graham talked about the same thing I talked about yesterday, and many of you commented about in the comments section. Aside from all the problems with some of the answers that Blasey Ford gave, the fact that some of those things don't add up with other information that we've heard, or things that have been stated, things that were in the Washington Post, things that were in her therapist's notes, and things and such. Apart from all the inconsistencies, it's the issue, particularly the one thing where she said that she didn't know that they were willing to come out to California to interview her. That one seems to have definitely perked up Lindsey Graham's ears, as it did mine, because that's a real problem, because it was widely known, it was reported in all the media, and besides that, Lindsey Graham actually has the letter. He has the letter that Grassley sent to the attorneys for Blasey Ford. And Turn In Your Guns, Mr. and Mrs. America Feinstein signed on that letter. Her and Grassley signed the letter that went to the lawyers saying, hey, we're willing to come out and send people out to California or wherever she wants to get her testimony. But somehow Blasey Ford says that she didn't know about that or didn't hear about that or wasn't sure about that. That's a problem. So there are a lot of things to be investigated, and this thing's not over. There'll be more things dropped this week. Very risky move, but the Democrats are desperate. So we'll continue to follow this because this particular sleeping dog is not going to be allowed to continue to lie, if you know what I mean. A lot of people are pretty upset about this, particularly Lindsey Graham and others, and they're not going to let it go. They're going to want to do some follow-up inquiries and find out who outed Ford and why. I think we know why. What role the lawyers played. Were the lawyers working with Democratic members of Congress, particularly in the Senate? Were they working with outside groups? Was that what we had going on here? Outside groups, private organizations, working with Democrats and Democratic operatives at the national level, and also working within those conducting the hearings inside the Senate. I think we are going to find that there was collaboration and cooperation and a systematic plot that had been set in play by all these groups. So we'll continue to follow this because I'm pretty sure it's not going away. So Deborah Ramirez, the second accuser, has now spoke to the FBI and has allegedly given the FBI names of witnesses who were present when Kavanaugh allegedly stuck his penis in her face. Now, I wasn't really aware of other witnesses specifically. They certainly never named any, and she didn't elaborate on that. But it will be interesting to hear what her witnesses have to say. as we found out with Blasey Ford, her witnesses essentially contradicted her. If Ramirez had witnesses, her case would have been stronger than Blasey Ford. But she didn't even want to come and testify. And no one really pushed it. If she had witnesses, if she's got witnesses, her case would be stronger than Blasey Ford's. And shoving his penis in her face is probably worse than what Blasey Ford was alleging. I wonder what those witnesses are going to say, and how many there are, and who they are, and who cultivated them, and who they're connected to. This is the type of thing that needs to be investigated. And the FBI does not do these types of investigations. This is political type stuff. This is going to have to be done by the Congress. We have Maxine Waters coming out and saying that it's a right-wing conspiracy that's accusing her or someone in her office of being the one who leaked the phone numbers and home addresses of Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee. Of course, Rand Paul came out and made a very forceful statement saying that he believes that there should be an investigation, and when the person who did this is discovered, that they should face criminal prosecution. I'm pretty sure Lindsey Graham, Orrin Hatch, and Mike Lee would agree with that. And that is going to be investigated as well. Now, it was a bunch of internet sleuths that determined that the web address led back to Maxine Waters' office. And once Maxine came out and made her statement, these same internet sleuths, these very techie guys, went back and double-checked their work. And they're standing by their claims that according to the investigation that they've done, that they place the URL that the leak came from back to within the office of Maxine Waters. So she's calling it a right-wing conspiracy, and the internet sleuths who sniffed it out are standing their ground. Who do you believe? They definitely need to look into that. That will not be hard to track down. They will be able to track that down. There's going to be a digital fingerprint from the source of where that information was leaked from, because it was leaked via a digital method. So they will be able to track that down. And we'll just have to wait and see how aggressive they are about doing that, and whether or not it truly turns out that it came from the office of Mad Max. Does anyone doubt that? Kevin McCarthy was also a Maria Bartiromo, and he was talking a lot about the election, the upcoming election, and what he's hearing. Because remember, he's out campaigning right now, raising money. Primarily, what Kevin McCarthy is doing is going from place to place in races where they feel like they got a good chance at a pickup or a seat that they want to hold on to. And so he's speaking to a lot of people. He's making contact with a lot of voters, up close and personal. And he is talking about the fact that since the Kavanaugh hearings, that the House races have changed drastically. Drastically. And I agree. I don't have any numbers to back it up. But it's just something I feel in my gut. Because I believe that the overwhelming majority of voters in the country are sane, have common sense, and are able to see a witch hunt and a political stunt when they see one. And I do believe that it's all going to show up in the midterms. That is where the people will have a chance to speak. And I think there's an awful lot of people dying to get to the voting booth so that they can express their opinion on Election Day, which I believe is November the 6th. I'm one of them. So yeah, it's just something I feel in my gut. I don't have any numbers. I don't have a crystal ball. But I just got this feeling. Same kind of feeling I had back in 2016 when everybody was telling me that Trump had no chance. And I said a week before the election that Trump would win with a little over 300 votes. In fact, I think I said he would have 302 electoral votes. I was only off by what, 2 or 3 votes? So I have the same feeling now. I have the same feeling that there's a lot of angry voters, and I'm pretty sure what they're angry at. And it's the political stunt and all the other stuff that's been going on since Trump was elected, and even before, actually. People are just kind of fed up with it. And they spoke up in 2016, and I believe they'll do again in 2018, the same thing. But it could be even worse now, because the Democrats had all but been guaranteed or believed that there was no chance that they would not take back the House. They were trying to make ground and to try to take back the Senate, which is a more difficult task. But they thought they had the House in the bag. And they thought maybe this political stunt would help them get the Senate. But I think it's all going to backfire on them. That's what my gut's telling me. Again, I've said it several times. I'll say it again. I believe that the Democrats will be somewhere between +5 and -5 in the House elections. And I believe that the Republicans will pick up 3, maybe 4 seats in the Senate. We will see in the not too distant future. 5 weeks out. It appears also now that there may have been a business being run out of the Blasey Ford house where they put in the second door. Because when you look up that address, a business name comes up for that address. And it is the Couples Research Center. The Couples Research Center has the exact same address as the Blasey Ford house where they added a second door. Now that would be a reason why they would add a second door. For business reasons. We already know that they added that second door, that they got the permit back in 2008. Even though Blasey Ford says it was added around, she didn't say exactly the day it was added, but she said they were talking about the door in 2012, and that's what, brought up this idea, made her go to her husband and say, I need a second door because I'm claustrophobic because Kavanaugh assaulted me. But now we know that was all the whole door thing all happened 4 years prior. Now it appears that the home in question has a business name attached to it. And we learned yesterday that they had been using as sort of a rental property. They've been renting out the house, apparently to Google people, techs or interns or something. So they've been using that house for something other than a residence. Maybe a business, just a way to make some extra cash by renting out the house for various purposes. So there's a lot more investigation needs to be done into Blasey Ford, her allegations, this house, and a lot of other things that don't add up. She's pocketed how much money now from her 3 GoFundMes? Well over, probably getting close to $1 million now, if not over. Very lucrative business that she's in. I hope it all gets burned up on legal fees that she has to pay to defend herself from the criminal, false allegations she has made, along with her friends. Trump sent out in a very interesting tweet yesterday. His tweet goes as follows: "Wow!" ! Just starting to hear that the Democrats, who are only thinking obstruct and delay, are starting to put out the word that the time and scope of the FBI looking into Judge Kavanaugh and witnesses is not enough. Hello? For them, it will never be enough. Stay tuned and watch. You see, we don't know the details of what Trump asked them to investigate. The Democrats said they wanted an investigation, another background check into Kavanaugh. Okay. Trump probably said, okay, I want you to go ahead and investigate these latest allegations as part of a additional background check on Kavanaugh. But I also want you to look into the witnesses, look into the accusers, and investigate that a little bit and see what you can find. So this is what that tells me, is that Trump's basically saying exactly what I suggested at the very end of yesterday's video. Remember, Blasey Ford has already gone out on record and made her statements under oath. Now, when she's questioned by the FBI, if she tells them anything different from what she's stated under oath, she's lying to the FBI. And that's a crime. Just as Papagalopoulos and that lawyer over in England. And McCabe. What if the FBI does look a little deeper into Blasey Ford? What if they look a little deeper into all these accusers and some of these witnesses? They might find some very interesting things, don't you think? Trump is definitely saying something there. It will never be enough. Stay tuned and watch. This plan, this plot by the Democrats to force an extended FBI investigation may just blow up in their face. What if the FBI decides to investigate where the leak came from that outed Ford? What if they decide to look into who released the names and addresses of the 3 Republican senators? What happens if they look into some of the other allegations made by some of these other people? What if they happen to look into the relationships between these lawyers, one of which was referred to Blasey Ford by Feinstein or people in her office? Maybe people at the Democratic National Committee. Maybe some big Democratic donors. What if the FBI begins to look into all of that? This could get very interesting, as I said. Then we have J. Edgar Comey, the former director of the FBI, and with her, the insubordinate Comey, coming out and saying, well, you know, there shouldn't be a time and scope on if you can't put a time and scope on an FBI investigation. You know, you have to allow them to do their job. And he's basically coming out and suggesting that Kavanaugh was lying. So now we know where J. Edgar Comey stands. Just what you'd expect from J. Edgar Comey. The only chance that we have the possibility of getting a fair investigation by the FBI is the fact that he, Andy McCabe, and Peter's been stroking us are no longer there, along with our other friends. He's really sickening, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he's going to be going to jail as well. We also have Tom Cotton, who says that the lawyers for Blasey Ford will face a Washington, D.C. bar committee for misconduct. So Cotton is going to make sure that the D.C. bar investigates these 2 lawyers, I assume Bromwich and Katz, for misconduct. Because we already know that they didn't pass along the information to Blasey Ford that she could have been interviewed out in California. And we don't know that it wasn't one of them 2 that leaked this stuff to the Washington Post. It may have been Feinstein or someone in her office, but could very well have been Bromwich or could have been Katz or someone they're associated with. But clearly, their behavior in this entire matter was not very professional and may have even been a violation of the D.C. bar. So Tom Cotton says that the lawyers for Blasey Ford will face a D.C. bar on the charges of misconduct. And they should. Some folks have set up a GoFundMe for Kavanaugh, and it's sitting right now at $345,000. Nowhere near the type of money he would need There's no amount of money, actually, that could ever be donated. It could be $100 million. It will not buy his reputation back. Not at all. Grassley is also referring the accuser of Kavanaugh for a criminal investigation. This would be the individual who called up and said that his friend was raped on a boat, and that as a result, and that rape apparently was conducted by Kavanaugh and Mark Judge, both of whom have denied that. And then this individual said he went and tracked him down and beat him up. That's actually a crime. So it looks like Grassley is also referring this individual for criminal investigation. So I'm glad that Cotton and Rand Paul and Lindsey Graham and Grassley are all calling for investigations into this whole matter, because it stinks of a political plot with a lot of coordination between left-wing lawyers, the Senate, people on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Democrats, and some outside private individuals, some of them named Soros and Clinton. This all needs to be dug into very deeply. There's a lot here, believe me. This is not what it looks like. This was a plot. So all this stuff just didn't happen. This was made to happen. Whether Blasey Ford is a CIA asset or a CIA mind control subject or a controller herself, I don't know. That story is still being, I guess you would say, excavated. I'd say probably within the next week or so we'll find out if it's there's any truth or some truth to this particular story. It's worth thinking about, though. But a lot needs to be looked at through this whole plot, this whole thing with Kavanaugh, in addition to all the other things. But certainly this was not just, someone coming out of the woodwork to make an accusation against Kavanaugh 35 years after the fact. This thing was a flat-out, coordinated political attack. Exactly what it was. And Blasey Ford could not have made all this happen on her own. We know that the second accuser was discovered because Democrats, operatives, came to her. She admits that. She says that. It was people who approached her. And the other two allegations, or three allegations, are so nutty, no one even gives them any credibility. Next, we have this nutcase, Senator Mazie Hirono, who no one had ever heard of until about a week ago, from Hawaii. She was on ABC on Sunday morning. And when pressed as to whether or not it was the Democrats who leaked Blasey Ford's letter to the Washington Post, she would not deny it. She would not deny it. She danced all around it, but would never deny it. Even when pressed by ABC friendlies, she would not deny that the Democrats may have had something to do with leaking this letter to the Washington Post, outing Ford. I'm pretty sure the FBI is going to have a conversation with the Washington Post. 20 million people watched the Kavanaugh hearings. Now that is saying something, because it took place during the day when most people were at work. For there to be 20 million people tuning in during the day when most people are at work, that's a hell of a lot of people. That means that probably 10 times that amount, or at least 5 times that amount, probably when they got home, watched YouTube videos or went to various websites after they got home from work and read about it or watched other videos. But they're saying that there were 20 million people who watched the Kavanaugh hearing live as it went down. That's a lot of people very interested in tuning in. Pocahontas. Pocahontas was speaking the other night, and she said she's now going to consider running for president after the midterms. Wait till she sees the results of the midterms and how the Democrats get snuffed. I think she'll change her mind. But if she does run in the field in 2020, she'll get wiped out. She should, although who knows? The radical left-wingers might actually nominate Pocahontas. And if you think Hillary got smoked badly, man oh man, Pocahontas will get just destroyed because she is dumb, man. I mean, this woman is flat dumb. She's so dumb that she will go out there and try to make an argument for her far left-wing agenda. At least Hillary is halfway smart enough to lie about it. Pocahontas is not smart enough to lie about it. She will go out and say, oh, we need Medicare for all. $100 trillion worth. We need to repeal the tax cuts. We need to tax corporations and businesses 95%. We need some more unfair trade deals. Everything that Trump says, she'll come out and take the opposite position without having any rationale to explain it. She won't be able, none of it will add up. She will look like a complete idiot. She'll get blown off the stage by Trump if she's unfortunate enough to be the one standing next to him in 2020. Some Democrats got to stand there and get undressed by Trump in 2020. Might as well be Pocahontas. She's already damaged goods. Maybe the Democrats will sacrifice her in 2020. A staffer for Andrew Gillum, who's running against, of course, Ron DeSantis down in Florida, a staffer for Andrew Gillum, the socialist down there, has been fired for tweeting in favor of Trump being executed. This nut, his name is Manny Orozco Ballestos. Manny Orozco Ballestos, 24 years old. 24 years. And I didn't know you could get that effing stupid in 24 years. I would have thought he had to be at least 35 or 40. You have to be pretty damn dumb to call for the president to be executed. You have to be awfully damn dumb. I would think it would take longer than 24 years to acquire that kind of, that level of stupidity and ignorance. But apparently not. This guy's apparently an overachiever. He's accumulated a level of stupidness, stupidity, and ignorance in just 24 years. It's just astounding. You got to credit him for that. He is, of course, a member of the Democratic Socialist Party. He's a communist, a Marxist. Things are really cooking, I guess, on the other side of the pond. Of course, we all watched the Brexit vote. Many of us cheering loudly. We're very happy with the Brexit vote. Thought it would be the best thing for the people in the UK to get their sovereignty back from the EU. We know how that turned out. But since that vote has happened, the British government has refused to implement the Brexit. They've done everything they can possibly do, and now Theresa May has introduced a super watered-down plan that no one's going to buy into. And now we finally, well, Boris Johnson's been pretty hard on her, but now he's really clamping down. And Boris Johnson and Theresa May are now in a showdown over Brexit. Johnson has branded Theresa May's Chequers plan as deranged and preposterous. Deranged and preposterous. That's two very good words to describe it, because it is deranged. First of all, it's unworkable. I don't know how she would ever get it passed. It is preposterous, and it certainly is completely contradictory to what the people who voted for Brexit wanted. The very things that they wanted in the Brexit vote, the sovereignty, control of their fishing rights, and various other things, these are all things that will be completely obliterated in the May plan. I don't know how Theresa May is still in power at this point. I don't live in the UK. I generally would follow things a little closer in the EU and Europe, but it's just been the past 2 years, things have been so topsy-turvy. I've been so focused on Spygate and all the other things going on. I really haven't had that much time to pay as much attention to things going on in Europe as I would like. But keep in mind, we do have quite a few people who view my site, who are subs to my channel, who are from the UK and from Australia and other places in Europe, and are paying very close attention. They're interested in our politics and the things that are going on here, and the British government's role, and the spy agency's role, and what happened in Spygate. They're interested for that reason, but they're just interested, a lot of people, in American politics because it has a pretty big effect on European politics as well. And maybe the way things go here, people think, hey, they got Trump and things are going in a new direction in the U.S. Maybe that can catch on in Europe, which it has. We can see that with Mr. Orban. We can see that with other people throughout Europe and Sweden and Germany. Not so much all through Germany. Austria, I guess, is more accurate. In Sweden and Austria, the Czech Republic, in various places like that, we are seeing a lot of Trump-like individuals coming into power. We just saw this again in the Mediterranean with Italy. So for that reason, a lot of Europeans are very interested. And so we do have viewers on this channel from the UK. So yeah, they're very interested in that. And of course, I know probably other people that watch my channel are interested in what's going on. We're all interested in what happened with Brexit. And we're all interested in seeing that the people of England who voted for Brexit, that's the will of the people. And it should be done without delay. Just as they promised. They said, we'll have a vote. We'll have a vote. And once you've told the people you're going to have the vote, and you've had the vote, and the vote's been decided, and the people have voted for what they want, you give it to them. It's their country. It's very sad to watch how the British people are being treated. They're not even being treated as citizens. They're being treated as subjects. Citizens have a voice and a vote. Subjects do not. They're being treated as subjects. And we know how that feels. My good friends in Britain, we were once subjects of the very same people that you now find yourself subjects of. We had to have a revolution. I hope it doesn't come to that for you. I hope Mr. Johnson and Mr. Farage and some other sane people can take care of that business in a peaceful way, deliver the will of the people. Claire McCaskill is now behind Josh Hawley, 48 to 46. That means she's lost 2% just since the last time I looked at a poll 3 to 4 days ago. Even if she turns and votes for Kavanaugh, I think it's too late. I really do. 48 to 46. You always have to give an extra 3 to 4 points to the Republican just because of, the way these polls work. Registered voter polls. So I would say that Hawley is probably up more like 50 to 46 or 50 to 46. I think it's clear that Claire McCaskill is going to be retired by the people of the Show Me State. I think they're going to show McCaskill what they think of her. She should have been gone a long time ago. But I think her day is done. I think Josh Hawley is going to win that Missouri Senate seat. There'll be a lot of crooked stuff going on there. He'll probably have to win by 3 or 4 percentage points to actually win because of the cheating and rigging that will go on. I think he knows that. The Last Man Standing in his premiere on Fox, 8 million viewers. 8 million viewers. Think about that. 8 million viewers. CNN doesn't have a single program. Throughout all the people they have, if that network doesn't have a single person getting 1 million views to any of their shows. The only person at NBC that gets over 1 million is Rachel Madcow. And she barely gets, I think it's 1.1, 1.2 million. She's the top draw. Last Man Standing gets 8 million views on its opening debut on Fox. Pelosi says she wants to remove Kavanaugh from all the courts. She says, if he is not telling the truth. And she says, let's take it one step at a time. Divine intervention or whatever it takes. Well, there won't be any divine intervention stopping Kavanaugh, Miss Pelosi. Now, whatever it takes means something else. Of course, we know you got more tricks up your sleeve, but they're not going to work. They'll only dig the hole even deeper and expose even more of your criminality and dishonesty. Okay, that's all I got for today. I also want to let you know that I will not be uploading a video on Tuesday. I have to go out of town just for one day on business. I will be back in time to get a video done for Wednesday, but there will not be a Tuesday TowerGate video. So my apologies for that. I'm going to be making a 4-hour drive one way and a 4-hour drive back. So I won't get home till very late. And so no video on Tuesday, but I will be back on Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys have a good night. Bye.